In our last episode, you watched us breach one of the most complete mining collieries in Europe, entering the grandest building on site and climbing one of the impressive headstocks. However, there was too many structures to see in one day, so we aimed to come back as soon as we could to experience more of the historical site. One week later, we are back at the immense compound, ready to continue searching for lost remnants of British industry that make the mine so special. Although there were some changes to our entry from the previous visit, we found our way on site much more efficiently this time.
That is not a turnstile.
It is.
It is.
The tree's
You have to
grown.
film just one of us going
It's a bit
through.
crap.
It won't actually go because of the tree.
We'll have to just get one of us go through.
It's like a minecart here, something.
That is really cool.
It's a cool little contraption.
It might be hard to see through the claustrophobic foliage, but there are buildings surrounding us, and soon enough we find an access point to one of them. This one-roomed building is very important, as it would have pushed the oxygen into the deep level shafts, so the miners could breathe fairly comfortably. Above the tree line you can make out the curved tunnel that would transport the air downwards, with this blue fan generating its movement.
Okay, so we've just been trekking through some woods for like 20 minutes trying to look for the underground part, and we've checked several buildings, none of which lead anywhere, so we're not having the best of luck, but hopefully we can find something through here. Who knows?
With no time to spare, we headed to one of the largest structures in the grounds, the locomotive shed, which happened to require a comedy entrance.
This is an absolute disaster. What is going on?
He's actually shocking. Oh, fuck me.
There's something that's having trouble.
Oh, see, that's like...
Go on, yeah, get the sink, get the sink. Right, this guy's wasting our time. Let's have a look at the building. See what's around this corner. Oh, a spacious room. This is quite nice.
The property consisted of two massive rooms with increasing levels of decay, mainly for storage and maintenance. Though very interesting, our focus quickly adhered to a large shape that suddenly flew over our heads.
There is legit an owl. He's fully stuck as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
With the owl endangering itself due to the smashed glass in the windows of the warehouse, we were seriously debating calling the RSPCA. Just then it managed to escape through the roof and we didn't see it again, so hopefully it is still living now.
These signs are so old. Factories Act 1961, 1970, 1908 and 1944, 1974. Look at the way they're peeling as well. Not preserved at all.
As we stated in part 1 of this lengthy exploration, the colliery shut in the late 1970s and became a museum not long after. The reason why many surface buildings still boast their machinery is because it was restored to its original condition. The museum wanted to show a realistic portrayal of a functional coal mine and its workers so the public could see most of the unique properties on site. At the beginning it operated well, with a peak of 70,000 visitors a year. Following some safety hazards in the early 90s involving the deep level regions of the shafts that were open for viewing, the museum was placed in liquidation and was closed in the same year. It is sad that a scheme that wanted to save the heritage of the property failed, and even the restored machines and structures have degraded back to a deteriorated state.
They're obviously being stored here, but these are some big carts. Whether these would go on the railway or like the smaller railway that goes across the site. Obviously that's a minecart. That's pretty cool. Even when this one was active, would have still been breaking the law coming in here. This is nice. You can tell how old this machinery is because of the signs. Got the text on that.
This was a small workshop to treat broken or rundown mine carts.
See the tracks for the cart comes through here. This machine, whatever it is, does something to it, and then it goes in here, maybe to be stored or worked on even more. Looks like they would have had some tools hung up on there, on the nails. Interesting.
It appears that the locomotive shed has received some of the most natural decay of all of the buildings, with fully grown trees developed inside. Next up on our hit list was one of the reasons we had been so enticed by the site, a totally intact minecart track that sits away from the majority of the complex.
These are so unsafe. Okay, it's concrete up here though. That's so cool. It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Carts would have been lifted upwards from the shafts by the largest headstock on site to move around this circuit, depositing their coal into collection. One of the most intriguing parts of the mine is the unexpected amount of buildings on site for what you might consider a simple process. So much horsepower or electricity was necessary for everything to function.
Oh shit. That's really bad. I'd actually be careful when you come on that. At least it's concrete here though. This is really cool though. Like, I don't know where else in England we're going to find an abandoned place like this. It's like a little indoor theme park. The ceiling as well is really cool.
Coal, the most important fuel in use today. Great Britain has the richest coal seams in the world, and this basic wealth played a major part in industrial expansion. More and more seams were opened up below the countryside, and around the mines, Britain's industries and towns converged. After 200 years of enterprise, Britain had world markets for her coal. At home in the industrial areas, there were 3,000 coal mines spread across the countryside. These mines employed 1.25 million men. In Britain, there were coal mines, giant industries, and busy towns. But all had been created with little thought for the country as a whole. for its social amenities. But that's an old story. And now here's a new one.
Bloody mental. Look at this.
It was a gigantic part of industrial England to produce coal for the world, and this area is where the process would come to an end. Here the blue contraptions would flip each cart upside down, emptying its contents into a wagon below, more than likely the larger ones we saw earlier in the locomotive shed. At the beginning of the first half of coverage we gave the site, you can see us walking underneath this area, and you might also notice that there are larger tracks on the ground floor, presumably where the large wagons would transport the coal to a safe storage location.
The best bit about it is if you look out the window, we're just surrounded by trees and nature. Like this, what would you call it, minecart track is not near anything else. It just goes off into the forest away from the rest of the site. So cool. This is really cool. It's where the minecart could be converted in one direction. It doesn't actually turn anymore. It's just rusted shut, but still. I don't know, I'm just really enjoying this part of this exploration.
It was now time to ascend the tallest headstocks in the colliery, with the exposure providing fierce winds to deal with the higher we got.
Oh, I've got a bit How far down that is. If you fall down the staircase, look where we're going, and we're just falling down. Oh, it's so windy. Ladder than the staircase. More ladder than the staircase. This is horrible. There's no railing. It's so steep and it's so windy. Have you seen that brickwork on that building that says 1883?
One of the final sections we wished to see was the facility part of the mine. No machinery resides in here, as this was where the workers of the colliery could come to eat, shower and collect their personal belongings after a long day below ground. Immediately inside, we noticed the excessive decay contrasted with old architecture in the likes of modernist era staircases combined with layers of peeled back paint.
These are really old offices. The decay is at ace as well.
We believe this structure was one of the newest built amidst the site, which doesn't say much as it was constructed sometime in the 1930s. Upstairs were the corridors upon corridors of lockers, one of the only furnishings remaining in the building.
There's over 2,000. Yeah.
The skylights above had allowed strong deterioration to take place in the hall, meaning that beautiful colours had formed from years of neglect. To contrast, in the shower block next door, to prevent trespass, the skylight had been boarded shut, so the tiles remained in reasonable condition.
These are all showers. There must have been one for almost every worker.
Yeah.
It's annoying that they've sealed the skylight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many lockers, so many cubicles. So after a day in the mine, any worker could come and clean themselves and they wouldn't have to wait. So they could go home, I guess. You can see the contour lines. This is obviously some sort of landscape model. It's been very destroyed, whether by vandals or by decay though. And then you've even got some models of some of the machinery. It doesn't look like any that we've seen here yet though.
A final surprise laid downstairs, the canteen for the colliery. Museum era signs were up, making it seem that the space had been repurposed during that period of time, yet the murals of coal-related iconography was great to see. Following another full day inside the iconic site, it was time to take our leave. The menu found in the canteen didn't help, as we had no food supplies, so that was the only thing on our minds as we headed out of the property. Looking back on the exploration from summer, it is a perfect example of the lack of care through the general public for our history. Even though the coal mine was restored, it failed to stay protected, and at this stage I doubt any restoration could bring it back to the appearance it boasted during its prime. There is a pattern between the number of vacant industrial premises like this and their listed title. With the funds our government has, structures like this should have been preserved rather than being left to rot, which sadly is the case time and time again. Here are some of our photographs from the second visit to the massive abandoned mining colliery. If you like the look of them, feel free to check out our Instagram and other social media with the links below, where we post images of the places we visit months before they are showcased on YouTube. Next time. There is a small but architecturally stunning gem trapped in time in one of England's city centres. With a failed restoration project, the building has been forced to decay and have its detail break down and fall to the ballroom floor. Thanks for watching our latest video. Keep on the lookout for a giveaway as a thank you for 10,000 subscribers. We will be speaking about it on our social media. See you next time.